I honestly believe that life is a game, and you have to learn how to play it. If you don't know how to play the game as a black person, you're out of the game.
Don't tell our listeners, because it's a secret. But we believe that of the few people in the world, of the few professions that you can trust, one is lawyers, but because we've told every lie it's possible to tell, so we can tell one when it's being offered to us. And the other is bartenders. Bartenders have to know in the first 30 seconds whether it's even safe to serve the person that just asked for the double shot. All feelings are real. They're not all justified.
Right.
Sometimes they don't even matter.
We all have feelings about things.
Oh, they get mad at me when I give them an opinion. He kept telling me, I don't want you in politics. You have a big mouth and they're going to hang you. And I didn't know what he meant. He kept telling me, I don't want you to do this.
He feared for your safety.
He feared for my safety. I will end it with this statement, and this is for everybody. Never, ever let anything control you. You control it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first inaugural maiden voyage of what we believe is the most fun podcast that has ever been made by anybody everywhere. And I can say that because I'm a lawyer and you can trust me.
That's right.
My name is Mark Fury. I'm a retired attorney now, and they'd have to really drag me back because I'm having too much fun. I am joined by my co-hosts, the incomparable Wendy Hollywood.
Hello.
And the moonlighting poet, M.E. Langford.
Hello.
She never shares her poetry.
Why would I?
And today for our first episode, we got lucky and got the Honorable Nancy Henry to come out of her semi-retirement and spend some time with us. Ms. Henry, we call her Miss Nancy mostly, is a former mayor of Franklin Township. She was the first African-American woman to be a mayor in the state of New Jersey. When I came here to South Jersey and started doing criminal defense, she had the #1 bail bondsman place for 15, 20 years. And since then, she has taught me so much about Saturdays afternoon with Nancy before she was mayor that I'm dying to hear about that. So, ladies, say hello to Nancy.
Hi, Miss
Hi,
Nancy.
Miss Nancy.
Good morning,
so
everyone.
much.
Thanks for coming.
I think he wants to know about when I tried to be a barmaid.
Well, see, and that's appropriate because the theme of our show here is a lawyer walks into a bar, and now I'm sitting here with 3 premier bartenders.
Well, once I was dating a fellow that owned a bar in Elizabeth called Rudy's Bar.
Elizabeth, New Jersey?
Elizabeth, New Jersey. And one day he had to work. He worked at Ford Motor Company, but still had the bar. And the barmaid could not make it in. So I became the barmaid who didn't drink, who didn't know anything about alcohol. I walk in, I get there at 7:30. People are lined up to go in.
7:30 a.m. or p.m.?
It's 7:30 a.m.
What time does this bar open? And I want
8
to know
o'clock.
Who
In the city, they open at 8. If you have a good bar, you open at 8. There are people who need a drink at 8 o'clock.
And not to be indelicate, what year was this?
Probably 78.
Now you want me to tell
I didn't know
my
what I
age.
was going to say.
it's
I
okay.
talked myself up. Let's put it around 78.
Okay,
That's
because
right.
that
But you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, my grandmom's bar in Philly, I think she opened at 9
Sure.
because of the police officers.
Yes.
The
The nighttime workers coming off a shift, right?
shift workers.
Yep.
They would get off their shift and want to wind down nurses, doctors.
Yep.
Right.
The first
Yeah.
bar I ever worked at. we
People
did the
think they
exact
don't
same thing,
drink, but
6
they
a.m.
do
shifts.
drink. But anyway,
After the stuff that they see,
they have to drink.
yeah.
That's where they go, right after work.
So you
Some
had
before.
never been a bartender.
Never been a bartender in my life. Now I go in, I open the bar, and the first individual that came in asked me for white label. So I got Seagram 7 because
Was it out of white?
Seagram 7 has white label. And I went to pour it, and he said, "You really are a dumb bitch, aren't you?"
Oh, no.
I'll never forget that. And I said, "Can I tell you something?" And he said, "Tell me. I've never done this in my life. I'm only helping out my friend Rudy. I don't know anything about anything." And he said, "At least you're honest. So I'm going to help you." So he spent the whole day with me, helping me.
Now I have a question. As a man, right, who has the bravery to sit here with 3 lady bartenders, Are we sure he was just sitting with you because he wanted to help you, or was it the fact that you were drop dead gorgeous and there was nobody else that had him in line at the time?
That's a good question. I don't know, and I didn't care. All I know is I needed help.
She did not go home with him.
No.
For the record.
There you go.
And did he pay for every round that he had while he stayed there?
No, he didn't.
No, he did not.
Know why he
Fair
didn't?
exchange, right?
Exactly.
Fair exchange.
No, I didn't, because he was helping me.
Exactly.
There you go.
And do you know what
Fair
happened? With all the fellas that came in, they started asking me questions about women and what women want, ambiance. They didn't understand anything. So we started that Saturday, we started talking about all the subjects they wanted to talk about. And as a woman, I could answer them honestly. So now we decided we're going to have Sex Days with Nancy
But
on
this was
Saturday.
something that wasn't spoken about
That's right.
back
It wa-
then.
Never.
Sexuality wasn't discussed. It was you open your legs, he does the deed, you roll over and say, "Thank God it's over."
No, what's
Lay back
even
and
worse,
think of England.
what's
Yeah.
even worse than that is some of them told me that they tapped their wives on the buttocks, and that's for her to turn over. That's horrible. So
Me and
we
Em would've been
changed
like-
all that.
Just like
Random.
a full
I
animal
asked one of the
husbandry.
guys one day, what if you went home right now and she had on a nice negligee with high heels waiting for you? He said, I'd take out my gun and look for the mailman. That's what he said. And then I asked one guy, what about if you went home? He said, look, the grandchildren sleep between us all the time. So
Nothing
I
happened.
know nothing is going to
I got to
happen.
tell you one quick joke.
Willy Wonka.
I'm not gonna lie, I did sleep between my parents every once in a while.
I did.
That's-
I was
that was
a
great
little
thing.
Every once in a
Up to a
while,
point.
it's
Yeah.
okay, but not all the time.
I will still sleep in a bed with my mom sometimes if I go visit her. She'll be like, "Why are you going over there?" She's like, "Come, let's watch Real Housewives," and we fall asleep. Yeah.
You mentioned suspicions that men have, right? A few years later, not that many years later, because if you were doing that in the mid 70s, I was married in the mid 80s, and I married a slightly older woman who was again very attractive and had known a man or two. The mother of my children, so I'm not saying nothing bad, but she taught me a very valuable lesson. About 3 months into our marriage, she maybe thought I wasn't paying her quite enough attention. And she said these words. She said, if you ever think about messing around, just remember, I can look up longer than you can look down. And I
Good
understood
message.
that. The entire 7th Navy could have come through my house and I'd never know the difference. So to your point about men not knowing much about sexuality, for 40 years I've been saying, buddy, you got it all wrong. There's nothing a man can do to dominate a woman that a woman doesn't allow.
That's right.
And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, because men are just not equipped. You cannot, what I mean is you cannot dominate her sexually because women are built to take it.
Sometimes women aren't equipped either. When I got married, he was my first lover. I knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing except what the girls on the street told me, the older women. And they said, if you want a wash machine or you want something, just turn over and let him do what he has to
See,
do.
that's what I'm saying.
And that's what I was taught. So any woman in the world could have stolen my husband.
And that's exactly what I mean as unfortunate. Women don't know their power. Men have a completely false view. I'll be clearer so you'll understand what I'm saying. I tell grown men, okay, I'm sure you're heavily endowed and all that great stuff. 8-pound human beings come out of there. What damage do you really think you can do? Right?
I also don't know many women that are like, "Oh, 10 inches, awesome."
Oh,
Not a single.
It's like getting stabbed with a spear, right?
I don't either.
Like that's for you. Don't come at us like, "Hey,
Right.
like no, I'll take 4 in a steady job." That's fine.
You know, you're lucky. 'Cause if-
I will tell you, Mr. Sexy has the perfect one for me.
There you go.
Yeah, and that's what it's.
And it's all
yeah.
shapes and sizes on both ends of the spectrum, on the women's side and the men's side. Like
I just realized-
I don't
Absolutely
want
true.
to. I don't want to walk like I've ridden a horse 90 miles.
That's what I mean. If a woman said to me, I have to have 10 to 12 inches. The first thing I would ask her,
You're a liar.
have you been out with a horse?
Right.
That's the first thing I ask her. Have you made money with horses, with animals?
Right. If you're doing that, you're in
That's
the wrong.
right.
If you're doing that and
You're
not
in-
on camera, you're in the wrong
Tijuana
industry.
is where you are.
Go make that money. I also really quickly, just based on the fact that I am in a very loving relationship, it's not for. I just realized how I made
I'm
that
glad-
sound. It's
This message
we're doing
was-
quite well, thank
This
you.
message was brought to you by. I didn't just mess up my
Yeah, this message brought to
Right.
you by.
So
But I have to tell you that the fellas who came in there, I'll say the first week, maybe 12. But then we started sex questions with Nancy on Saturday afternoon, and it was jammed.
Yeah.
I took food in for them to eat free, and they came in. I could not believe all the questions they asked.
Now you had been married and divorced by that time,
No, yes, I was. Yes, I was.
so you knew something.
So
about
I
it.
knew something. Oh, I had learned. Vanessa Del Rio came into my life. And when Vanessa Del Rio came in my life, I was prepared for everything.
A
All right?
footnote for our viewers who may not be old enough to know that before there was OnlyFans, you had to get your porn on videotape.
Video on a VH.
Behind the curtain.
There you
Yes.
go. And Vanessa Del Rio was probably the biggest
The best.
star in the world.
That's right.
At that time.
That's right.
Suitably of hard to describe Hispanic descent, flat gorgeous.
That's right.
And retired successfully and had a normal life thereafter.
That's
but
right.
she played out a lot of her personal
Did she?
right on screen. I only know this because I read a lot and not because I ever.
We know you don't watch
Yeah.
No,
television.
I don't watch.
so
So
would
how can I
you-
possibly watch porn?
But
course,
see, we
Mike.
expect men, when we get into relationship, maybe the problem was back in those days, we expect men to know all about sex. And we expect them to teach us. I've learned
They don't know
that's not the way it works.
anything.
They don't know anything.
Not only is it not the way, there's a reason that French culture has always been revered for sophistication, because that was the only European culture that I know of where the habit was to take your 16-year-old boy to the approved brothel.
That's right.
Take your favorite mistress and say, teach him the ropes.
Yeah.
Because one day he's going to have a suitably aged wife who is supposed to not know, right? And so it's
Not
the
today.
obligation of the man to know.
That's not today.
No, because everybody thinks they know everything.
And it's on
today.
TV, and it's every
still-
place you
and
go.
and it's all
That's right.
it's all nonsense.
It's all sensationalized.
there you go.
I'm sure that you were taught, like I was, that love and sex go together.
different-
Listen,
There are two different
they're
things.
two
when I
different
got
things.
divorced,
And they should go together.
I used to go into a party, okay, and say to myself, could I love him? Could I love him? Needing sex so badly, but I knew that I couldn't have it unless I had love. Boy, did I learn quick.
So I have to say this. Miss Nancy was mayor in 1982. Okay, because there are embargoes on certain pictures. I can't show you what a drop dead knockout she was in 1982. So for a woman that attractive to have to decide, could I stand this guy long enough, goes to your points about men don't know crap about what brings a woman along, and women are disadvantaged by social restrictions, not by, well, all right, I'll get to the point. My point is this. I was in the bar yesterday, a bar, not your bar, a bar, and I heard these three guys talking about their high school days, and I heard one guy say, yeah, I feel like the girls start out smarter than us, but then we catch up. And I'm biting my tongue,
Never
laughing in my
catch up.
teeth. And I let them finish, and I said, can I just ask you guys, how old are you guys? And one said 34, and one said 37, and the last one said 44. And I said, okay, well, you two are the same age as my kids, my two sons. And you, I remember 44, but I'm more than 20 years older than you. I said, have you heard the proposition that actually girls are smarter and they have to dumb themselves down to get guys, including all four of us? And they're like, and that's how the conversation ended, because I don't want to go on. I don't want to go on.
No, but it's true.
It's true, and I never felt like I had to I never felt like dumbing myself down. You just stay quiet is where it
Yeah.
is. Like you just are like, is it worth me even giving my
Thank you
input?
so much.
Exactly.
No.
See, the
No
poet-
one's going to pay attention. No
the
one's
poet
going to
helps
notice.
me out. That was a whole poet thing she did there. You know why? Because she offered me the word dumb, which in some senses means silent. So they do dumb themselves
Well, okay.
down.
A little bit, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things. Do you want to start an argument
Right.
over something? No, I'm just going to keep that tucked in the back of my mind.
And that's where a lot of the, I would say, inferred power comes from. When you talk about power dynamics, sure, out in the world and like you said, a social structure, where does the power lie? It is in information.
But do you want to know what the most difficult thing is? Someone my age is trying to separate or trying to put together love and sex because we were taught that.
Right.
It's very hard to separate the two of them and admit that you want sex, but just to go to bed with a man, just to have sex makes you feel like this is wrong. This is so wrong. And that's very hard. That's very hard to get over. And that's why you keep, how many times, Mark, have you dated a girl or gone out with a girl and the first thing she said to you is, I love you.
Oh my God.
I love you because.
Oh my God.
That's right.
Oh my God. And
That's
there
what we were
is
taught.
no truth to the rumor that I am a fourth generation West Indian American, born and raised here, but raised in the West Indian tradition, which is that music, so wine, women, and song is an acceptable target for your life trajectory. And if I told you, Nancy, exactly what you're saying, if I told you how often somebody will say, this literally just happened to me. I'm sitting at a bar, shocking, right? I'm sitting at a bar, and the two people to my right, I kind of noticed them. I didn't really know where I knew them from. The conversation finally ensues, and halfway through, and these folks are at least in their 70s, possibly in their 80s, and the wife finally leaned over and said, I know you from Curtains Wharf in Burlington, New Jersey, where I play with the band sometime, right? And she said, I've been waiting to talk to you for 3 years because I just knew you were an interesting person. And I'm like, I don't know what it's like to be sitting next to, if you're the husband sitting
Right.
next to that, and then I get uncomfortable. But they've been married for 50 years. I mean, sure, it's very fine. But I guess the point that you offered that I'm trying to deal with to this day is people fall in love with you for the weirdest
That's
reasons.
right.
Yes.
And then they transfer their emotions.
That's right.
And sometimes they express it sexually. And then you're stuck. So I actually, as odd as it seems, contrary to everything that I ever thought, I spend most of my time going like this.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because if you start it, then you got to kind of finish it. And I'm uncomfortable now.
But you see, back in our day, in my day, if you went to bed with a man because you sexually desired it, wasn't in love with him, they had a name for you.
Oh, yeah.
So women had to be very, very careful. And that's why when I got divorced, I always thought the two of them went together, love and sex. I'm older now. And I realized that sometimes I think men grow as far as their knees and their penis is their brains. Because when they get an urge, they can go out and anybody will do. Women are not like that. They're not like that.
Well, I can say, I think nowadays a woman can go out and say, I'm having sex with someone tonight.
Yes, they can.
That's
And
right.
they can much
You're right.
easily get a man than a man can get a woman.
100%.
Not unless a woman's drunk, but because our inhibitions go to the wayside. But I do think that it's easier for a woman to go to bed with a man that they just met.
That's right. My friends tell me, I'm going out tonight. I need sex. Take them home. And then kick them out.
Yeah,
You were
you
gonna
can't
say
stay
something.
over.
You were going to say something.
I was going to say a few things, and now I don't remember what they were, but I do
Sorry.
have one track. Well, and I was going to say also, like, yeah, if you did a competition where a man and a woman of
Equal attractiveness.
at equal
Yes.
attractiveness, age, what have you, go out and race. So see who's going to catch one faster. It's going to be the same. It's that race will be won every time.
The woman is going to win, But there's a
if there's
specific
no,
there's a specific reason that the woman wins. There's a specific reason that women can always win that race. Would you like to hear my thought on this?
I'm sure I
ahead.
think I'm already there,
Very
and I'd love to
intrigued.
hear you say it.
Well, from a man's point of view, the difference is supply and demand.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's
it.
right.
A woman can theoretically, unless she's a porn star, accommodate one man at a time. Right? Unless she's a porn star.
Or
Or
adventurous.
she's into.
Or she's
I'm
into
just
that.
going to say
By
that.
porn
pay-
star, I mean she is an athlete that can handle,
Okay.
the workouts. Okay?
There are many people that go to sex parties that can
Yes.
handle many.
I understand.
Women go to those parties for that
I
reason.
understand. But your average I'm not being chauvinistic. Your average everyday woman, right,
What about her?
has a real life, right? Because of the inequities of any society, she has a reputation she has to protect.
Right.
She may or may not have kids. She can't let just anybody walk in her door, right? There are reasons that women have to fence off their physical nature. Whereas a man can be a whore from 16 to 60. I don't have any basis for knowing this personally, of course,
No, of
because I would never do that. Okay? But trust me, I know men that, I know men that claim to have, and I know men that have actually.
I know women the same way. In
So
the
do I.
bail
So do
bonds
I.
company, I know women who can do the same thing that you do, not feel bad about it, and say she was satisfied.
And I
That's
agree.
all that matters.
And I agree. But so here's my issue. 1 in 10 women can bring themselves to do that.
What makes you any different than me?
Social mores, pressure that you get that I don't get. I don't get any. You know what? I get
We're not
rewarded.
looking at that anymore. I don't see any pressure.
Trust me, it's still out there.
You keep things to listen. There are a lot of places you can go
That's the
where
problem.
people
is
know
don't
nothing.
Keep things to themselves.
Believe me, the woman you meet, you know nothing about her.
I accept
Nothing.
that. I accept that. So this is my rule. You ladies have heard me joke about this. This is just a fact. My answer to this question is, gentlemen do not kiss and tell. Okay?
Neither do women.
Neither do women.
That's why gentlemen shouldn't, because that should be the rule of the game. I'm not in a competition with you. I'm just saying that if I get somebody pregnant, I can choose to participate or choose not to participate. If they get mad, they can take me to court. The most they can get is money. If a woman gets stuck with a surprise package, that's 18 years to life with no parole. It is a significantly different. So then you're going to bring up abortion.
No, I'm going to bring up a big difference. Women today protect themselves. It's not like it was when you were dating. A woman today who wants sex knows how to protect herself. She's not looking for babies.
Should know.
The majority of smart women who are out there do know, and they're not looking for children. You're
I know
talking
they're not.
about younger people. When you get middle age and above, you've learned a lot
I
about
accept
life.
that. I accept that. And I will go so far as to say is I personally, at 67 years old, do not chase 30 years old. I don't.
They chase you.
No, only the ones who think that they can get money out of me.
I got a lot of those that always ask me.
I chuckle about this.
I do too.
Because I'm like, you know my joke. I'm still paying for the last wife. So
Well, I will agree with Miss Nancy. I wanted kids. I'm 2 days, I'll be 45. I could have gone out and gotten pregnant and had a child,
right.
had 3 kids, had
That's
7
right.
kids, had 7 baby
right.
daddies, but I chose not to because
Smart.
that's not the way that I wanted to live. I don't want to fight for a man to have time with his child. I don't want to fight for money. I don't.
attention.
It's too much.
I don't want to fight for attention.
That's not a man.
No,
That's not a man.
But you know,
So-
guys, this now we're getting to my point. I am not here defending guys. I'm telling you what I know to be wrong with them. I lost a relationship with my youngest sister when I was 21 years old at the end of college when I told her how lousy I thought men behave And she clearly ascribed all of those negative things to me, and we haven't merely been great since.
But what she just said to you, did you listen to what she said?
did.
She's smart because she knows what she wants, but she also knows that her body sometimes craves sex. But she's going to take care of her body. When she decides that the man is right for her, that will be the man. But when your body needs sex, we are no different than you. And that's been the problem all along in life. Men think they're the only ones who want sex. Like we're nobody. We're nobody until you come to us and say, I want some. Okay, and that's not the way it works anymore.
I have to ask you an intensely personal question that I
Go
already
ahead.
know the answer to. Would you be willing to answer the question whether you are dating at this age of life?
I am dating.
See, that's my girl.
I love
That's my girl.
I am dating.
Right, exactly.
And may I tell you that I've learned more about sex at this age than I ever knew in my life. At this age, I have learned more about it than I ever knew in my entire life.
And that's having been married,
having been married,
having given
listening
sex
to the
7 hours
girl,
at a
having, listen, I'll
Which
tell
we
you
have to circle
something.
back to.
Yes.
When I got divorced, there was a motel in Wildwood, a black motel, the only one in Wildwood. I used to go down there on the weekends, and I went down for one reason, sex. And I would meet a doctor, a dentist. I used names like Desiree, Veronica, Sylvia. And one time, I met this doctor, and I spent the weekend with him. It was wonderful. And I came home, and I went out to an affair in East Orange, and the doctor was there. And he said, hi, Veronica. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. You have the wrong girl. But unfortunately, I have a very, very distinct voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was wearing a dress. I had just come from modeling, a modeling show, and I had on a white dress, and it was cut down like this, and I have a mole
Yeah.
between my breasts. And he said, I would recognize that mole any
my
place.
God.
Listen, I never got so sick in my life. I couldn't wait to get out of there. And he said, know what he said to me? Why did you give me the police station number?
I used to do that too. I've done
You
that.
did that too?
Of course.
I
that's
love
the
it.
best thing.
Isn't that
Wrong
the best?
number and
Oh,
make
I
them call
love
the,
it.
oh my God.
He called the police department. He said to me, why would you do that to me? I said, I keep telling you, you have the wrong girl. It must be someone who looked like me and had a mole here, but it wasn't me. And he said,
Because there's a bunch of 5'7" cafe au lait colored former mayors walking around in red dresses. Yeah, you meet them every
isn't
day.
that funny?
That is
The
awesome.
things that happen to you in your life.
Say, excuse me, Dr. Feelgood. How did you know that was my name?
That's it.
Yeah. I'll never forget that. Oh my God.
That's a story. I mean,
And
you
that's
could've-
when I was learning. Now that's when I was learning that love and sex don't always have to go together. They don't always have to go together. Sometimes you just need a release.
I mean, it's like saying you have to be in love to go on a roller coaster.
But you have to be choosy.
Just looking for a little fun.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a risk. Do each of you or any of you have a definition of what love is? Because I think a lot of people are confused about that.
I think that's such a broad, because there's even different kinds of love, and there's toxic love, and there's
I already know your
actual love.
answer.
Am I
I
being
already
set
know
up? Am
your
I being set
answer.
up? Why don't
Yes.
you just give me your punchline, Mr. Man?
So here's my question for you, Mayor. I'm gonna put a burden on that.
I love it. I love it.
Yes. So, and I'm using your reference to your actual public service for your town, which I should point out, she was falsely accused by the then Somerset prosecutor, who later was disbarred
And
Nicholas
shot
Bissell,
himself.
Okay, and killed himself
Killed
because
himself.
over the dishonor, right? And she was represented in that case by the office of Ray Brown, who at the time
Mm-hmm.
was the best and only black attorney in the entire state of New Jersey for all intents and purposes. And the young lawyer who represented her 40 years ago at that time, Ed Kalogi, will be our guest in about 3 weeks.
Kalogi.
So we'll get his story a little bit later.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
coming on.
Oh,
I
that's
couldn't make
great.
it work for him to be on at the
Oh,
same time
that's
you were
great.
on. But he was so excited when he saw my Facebook post that you responded to. He said, "Is that Mayor Nancy?" I said, "Yes, it is." So then I told him that. So he's coming on. But the point of all that is that your public service as a city council, first of all, as a person with the compassion and the empathy to be able to talk to men in a bar and a job you never did before, to being a city councilwoman, to being the first black female to be mayor of a town, to spending 20 years helping people to get out of jail if it was possible to get them out of jail. That is love. Because my co-host Wendy knows my definition of love is addressing the needs of another.
That's right.
Without promise of return.
That's right.
If there's a promise of return, it's not love, it's commerce. That's perfectly fine. You can do that. But that's a contractual relationship. Some marriages are contractual relationships.
That's right.
Yes.
Some adoptions are contractual relationships. But if you just do something for somebody because they need it done,
That's right.
well, you might have an expectation, you might have a hope. But what I'm going to push to is that what's missing from our whole damn world these days is nobody wants to take the risk to really love anybody except the 4 folks they live with, or, you know, their best friend, and that's iffy, you know, instead of doing what some people claim every religion describes, which is if you see somebody in the gutter, grab them by the hand and pull them out.
That's right.
Doesn't actually
Reach down.
Doesn't really
That's
actually
right.
cost you anything.
That's right.
You don't have to take them home with you. You know, if you got some water, you can clean them off. I don't know how we got off from this tangent, but you were saying that there's a difference between love and sex. Your whole life has been one of loving
Love.
others,
That's right.
right?
My whole life.
So how'd you fit the sex in?
Oh, I found out. Listen, your body will tell you when to fit that in.
right.
Believe me, it will. Don't let women, there are a lot of women who are not interested in it. That's their thing. But for those of us who have feeling and still care, of course we want sex. I don't think I'll ever be too old.
There you go.
I really don't.
Do you think there are a lot of women who just have never, like you said even after your marriage, you didn't know what you know now?
Didn't know anything. I still didn't know anything. And when I saw Vanessa Del Rio for the first time, I had to replay it over and over because I thought, what is this? Okay, this
You're
can't
allowed
be.
to do that?
Yes, you're allowed. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. But I think we tell our kids the wrong things. I really do. We teach them about love, loving a man, and that you do as a man wants you to do. That's what I was taught. Okay, if he taps you on the, and if you want a wash machine, you let him make love to you on a Friday night to get the money for a wash machine. And I came up in Southbound Brooklyn, all black street, and they loved me. Don't get me wrong. I want to write a book about the street one day. They were the most amazing people in this world. They couldn't read and write. I never knew that. When they asked me to do their Christmas cards, everybody on the street, I thought they wanted me because I remembered addresses and telephone numbers. Never knew they couldn't read or write. And the funniest thing is I would get a report card, and from the very end of the street till I got to our house on the end, they were waiting to see my report card because I came from a village. It was a village. And they loved me. They truly loved me. And this, what I'm going to in November, I don't want to cry, but what I'm going to
It's good for our
on
ratings,
November
Nancy, do it.
16th is for them. Because this is what they wanted from me.
Yeah.
And it's for them. It's for the village I came out of. And I'll tell you how bad that village was. Oh, God. I wrote an article on Southbound Brook, where I was raised. They wanted to know the good things about the town. Well, you know, I couldn't buy a house there. But the mayor wrote me a nice letter and said he's so sorry that happened to me and that they missed out on having a good individual live there. But when I go back to my raising. And may I tell you about my 5th grade? Okay. I never felt that I was inferior to anybody. I loved, in this town that I came back, the white kids, the Spanish kids, we all played together. So when I entered 5th grade, Miss Davis, who I didn't know, didn't like Negroes, because that's what we were at that time. I came to class that day in a little yellow and white little dress, and I sit down, and I sit here. There was a row of white kids here and a row of white kids here. And she said, today we are going to talk about Negroes, and Nancy is a Negro.
And what grade were you?
5th grade. And then she said, open your book to page 32. Now, I remember all this because this is the worst hurt I've ever had in my entire life. Even Nick Bizzle didn't hurt me the way this teacher did. Now we open our books, and there are 5 black men with things around their neck, their hands, and their legs. And she says, today we're talking about Negroes, and Nancy is a Negro, which means this was my brother and my father. So I looked at it, and all the kids looked at me. And that day, every bit of self-esteem that I had left my body, left me. I started fighting. I beat up everybody. I made them bring me pretzels and candy. I did everything until the 8th grade.
Just for the record, 5th grade is about 9, 10, 11 years old, right?
10, 11,
That's right.
10, maybe 10.
I was 9.
There we go.
And you don't know what that did to me. It just took, and when I went home to talk to my father was born in 1911. He wouldn't explain anything to me. So in 8th grade, my brother left college and came home and said, you have to go to a psychiatrist. So I went to the psychiatrist, and he said, why are you beating them? And I said, because they're better than I am. Okay? That's how I felt. They're white, I'm black. You know they're better than I am because I came from slavery. All right? And he explained to me that I was going to be valedictorian of the 8th grade that Thursday, and that you got a brain, and that's what matters. So I felt a little better. But when I asked my father if I was going to get a gift for graduation, he said, no, anybody can come out at 8th grade. I want to see you graduate. Now I go to get my courses. Mr. Mayor says, my brother Jack wrote them all down, Latin, algebra, everything. He says I couldn't have them because a negress does not go to college. She cleans houses and babysits. So I didn't know what a negress was. I knew Negro. So I went to the library because my dad made us go to the library every Saturday. And I looked the word up, and it was a female Negro. So I went and I got Dr. Chandler. And I got him to go back to the school with me and to get me the courses that I wanted. And when I got home and Dr. Chandler left, I got a whipping.
From who?
My father. I got a beating from my father because my father said, whenever a white man tells you what you can or cannot do, you listen to him. But remember, he was born in 1911.
Right.
And I never understood him until the day I got sworn in as mayor.
I'm so glad you said that because my next question was going to be, how did it feel to be mayor of your town?
And listen, I would be putting up signs for me, and he'd be putting up Republican signs.
When you ran?
When I ran.
When you were 45 years old?
He was a
your dad
Republican.
I was going to say your father?
Yes, my father. Now listen, through all this, I went outside and I said to him, are you proud of me yet? And he said, do you see that tree over there? We were in Middlebush. I said, yes. He said, that's where my best friend James was hung by the KKK.
And that's in New Jersey.
And that was the day, believe it or not, my mind opened up and I finally got to see him for who he was.
He had lived his entire life in fear.
In fear. He kept telling me, I don't want you in politics. You have a big mouth and they're going to hang you. And I didn't know what he meant. He kept telling me, He kept saying it over and over. I don't want you to do this. I don't want you
Because
to
he
do
feared
this.
for your safety.
He feared for my safety.
But
and
now-
that day, that night, I stood there and cried like a baby because
you understood.
here I am, 45, and just starting to understand what his life was like. But that's the reason I don't want slavery taught in schools. That's right. Imagine your grandson in school right now in 3rd grade, and a teacher who doesn't know how to say from slavery came greatness, but she's telling him what he was. Imagine how he would feel.
I understand.
I don't want our children to think that slavery is all we came from, because we didn't. We came from greatness.
something
We have,
before.
right now in Somerset, they don't want to recognize me as the first black female mayor,
Which is laughable.
which I understand, because all the inventions that we have, we're not recognized.
Now, just on that point, very briefly, and to get our team back in this, you made me aware after we made the date for you to come on here that you are being honored on November 16th.
That's right.
For a thing, right? And you're coming to my speech at my fraternity thing next Saturday. So basically, we have to buy each other tickets to this thing because we're going to support each other. Absolutely,
That's right.
But what I want to ask you is, 1982, you become mayor, right? Not the biggest town in New Jersey, but not the smallest either, right? You're a woman. You're an African American. You have a big mouth. You're very sassy and smart as a whip, and came up kind of rough and learned some things. Where do you stand now on questions like equality and opportunity and women's liberation and whatever else you think you want to touch on, having had a few decades out of office to think about it?
You're going to laugh at this.
I hope so.
You are. I honestly believe that life is a game, and you have to learn how to play it. If you don't know how to play the game as a black person, you're out of the game.
And as a woman.
And as a woman, you have to understand that. Look, when Obama ran for president, it's hard being a black politician. You know that, because you have to please whites and you have to please blacks. And you have to make the whites understand that I'm not just here to support the blacks. I'm here for you also. I had to walk the streets in the white community. I had to get their streets done.
The
I had
snow
to-
has to get shoveled.
That's right.
No matter what.
where. That's right. And you have to play the game. You got to know how to play it. If you don't know how to play it, you're out of the game. And the problem today, we have no leadership. I keep asking you to be a leader, but of course,
It's expensive.
yeah,
Oh my God,
we need
it's
a
expensive.
leader. We need somebody to tell the truth. We need people to see. One of the nicest compliments I got was from a school friend in Boundbrook. She said, you wrote something about you don't judge a whole race by a few idiots. And you've always been our friend in high school. And every time I go to the reunion, I thank them. And I'll tell you why I thank them. They never treated me any different in that high school. I was Nancy Twyman. I went to their homes. I went to dinner. They never made me feel like I was somebody different. And I appreciate that, because that gave me the ability to go on and move up. I knew what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted little girls and boys to understand that you can be whatever you want to be, okay? Only 12 years of high school and no black history. My only hero was Jackie Robinson. And I was out of school then, okay? But Emmett Till. I hate to tell his story because you're going to get mad at me.
No, I'm not going to get
Emmett Till was killed and I was a junior.
That was what,
And the teacher
1952?
asked everybody in the school, in the history class, what do you think about what happened to Emmett Till? Do you know what my answer was? He didn't do what the white people told him to do. He didn't move off the walk like he was supposed to. Now I think about that and I want to cry. But that was my raising in an all-white school. Whatever white people say, you must do. And it's a shame because that's not the way it should be.
It is not the way it should be. I will tell you a secret. One of the reasons that we thought this would be a wonderful platform for a podcast is don't tell our listeners because it's a secret, okay? But we believe that of the few people in the world, of the few professions that you can trust somebody's judgment, one is lawyers, not because lawyers are already honest, but because we've told every lie it's possible
right.
to tell, so we can tell one when it's being
That's
offered
right.
to us. And the other is bartenders, because bartenders, and we talk about this all the time,
We sure do.
bartenders have to know in the first 30 seconds whether it's even safe to serve
That's
the
right.
person that just asked for the double shot.
That's right.
And then 4 minutes later, you have to determine, does this person need to eat? Or maybe they're really, really sad and they need an ear. Or they're really, really talkative and I got to find some other guest at the bar to pawn them off on because I got other to do, right? People don't give each other enough chance to be heard, I think. But there are a few professions where we have to hear. Lawyer is one. Frankly, nobody wants to believe it, but politician
Right.
is another, at least at the local level. And there's no profession that I admire more for this than bartenders, which is why all three of you are here taking care of me right now.
Well, listen to you. You did something the other day and you talked about it. The young man who wanted to talk to you at the bar. Somebody came online and the only thing he noticed
I know exactly what you're talking
was a glass of wine. He didn't comprehend anything that you did for that individual. Those are the kind of people I don't want around me.
So for context, I'm in the gym. This is a bartender story. You can chime in anytime.
Okay.
Wendy. At 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm in the sauna.
Again.
He's
This
always
is our
Every
second,
day.
this is our second
my-
sauna.
no.
this
This is kind of getting
kinda my-
suspect
kinda
here.
my thing,
in
you know?
the sauna with a bunch of men.
Oh, this time it's only one guy, so I'm really excited. Stop it.
One-on-one.
Stop
Right.
it.
So what to me as a kid, right? I didn't write this in my Facebook post, but I will tell in this context. Tall, good-looking white kid, maybe 30, 35, let's say 35 years old. He comes in. I don't know who said what first, right? The normal way a conversation starts in the sauna is the machine working well today or not? And he says, I love this. I come in here every morning at 5 o'clock. It's the highlight of my day. It's away from work. It's away from the concerns of my family. I'm 67. This is a kid young enough to be my child.
That's right.
Oh, you have a family? Yes, I have been married for so-and-so, and I have 3 daughters, 5, 3.5, and 18 months.
Wow.
And we just buried an infant in June. She lived 12 days, and he told me that infant's name. My next question was, did you happen to grow up Catholic? And he's like, yes. How did you know? I ignored that question. Then I said something, and he said, I'm just glad it happened to me instead of one of my brothers and their families. And I said, because you're the oldest, right? He said, yeah. How did you know? Well, the answer to how I know is I just spent 40 years learning to listen to people.
That's right.
Okay. And I don't walk into it with preconceptions. The fact that he was tall and good looking and probably Irish and definitely Roman Catholic and
Kind of sounds like someone that we know, but a little bit younger.
Very much like someone we know, which if we get lucky, he'll be a guest on us and we'll really have a good time this time. But to your point, because I'm a big Facebook poster, then I wrote the story that I just told you. And a guy that I know, his comment was, the picture that I use, because I always illustrate my Facebook posts, because people, they're more likely to stop and read a long story if you give them a picture, so I give them a picture. Some of the pictures I use are 4 years old. Some of them are 40 years old. This one happened to be during COVID, when they still had tents outside, and Fridays had a tent outside, and I'm sitting there on a phone that I don't even have anymore, and there's a glass of wine, and this guy said, Where'd you get a glass of wine at 9 o'clock in the morning? Well, first of all, stupid, if you listen to Nancy's first story, you can get wine at 7:30.
That's
you know?
right.
Yep.
That's right.
But you have to get out of your own head to know that. But your point is, but second of all, that's what you got from this story? I took my...
She get a glass.
Did you
Right?
see what I wrote?
I did, and that's why I'm talking about it, and you brought it up, and I appreciate it, because I want to make this really clear. I took off my black hat. I took off my politician hat.
That's
I
right.
took off my lawyer hat. I took off my old man hat, and I put my dad hat on, and that kid could have told me any story he wanted
Right.
to for as long as he wanted to talk about
That's
it.
right.
People need to put on their human being.
I get
hats
it every
more
day.
often.
There you go.
I get it every
There you
day.
go.
Every day I get it. Every day somebody needs to talk to me.
And you
I'm
just
going to listen.
listen.
I tell
You
people
just
all
listen.
the time, I have all the time in the world, more time than money, and I'm going to listen.
So,
Do we always want to listen? No, but we do.
But we do.
Because it is
That's true.
sometimes it's talking someone off the ledge.
Yes.
And they just have no one else to talk to.
yes,
Yesterday, I got a call. Lady bought a dog on the internet.
yes.
$800 and some on the internet.
That's cheap.
But listen,
By the
she
way.
doesn't have
What
money.
kind of dog
If
it
you
is.
get a dog, if
But she
the dog
didn't.
appears.
Guess what? She didn't get anything. She paid for it through Apple, and now she called me. I've been scammed.
I knew it.
But I listened.
Yep.
I listened to everything she said, even though I was thinking, how foolish can you be?
But this is so. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm gonna turn it over to one of you.
Well, let me just. How old was this person?
Which person?
The one that bought the dog.
She's about 68, 69.
That,
Well,
and I don't mean to be
Animal shelter.
an ass about it, but some people aren't, and I will fully say I am technically not savvy at all. And some people are. And I, even with my parents, I have to do things for them where I'm like, how do you know not to do, like, how do you not
Do
know
you
how to
ask
do
her
this?
questions? If you doubt anything at all, ask questions.
Yes.
Because today on my phone, right now, it said we charged your Apple account $289, the Apple account. Now, at one time, I would have called Apple and gone crazy. But I know that that's not
a
true.
scam.
It's just a scam.
It's a
Just-
scam.
Yeah.
Please just call this number and
Yes.
give us your credit card, and we'll fix it for you
And,
right now.
and your social security number. And if you know your blood type offhand,
There
we'll
you go.
take that one
Exactly
too.
right.
No, Amazon is the best one. Amazon sent me a message that they had sent $1,000 television to someone and they think this is a mistake. Would you call? I got an Indian. I gave him the name of Barbara Jordan. Okay.
And when you say Indian, you mean somebody living in India.
India.
Yes.
And what he said to me was, he was trying, may I have your credit card number? May I have, of course. And I said, over my dead body. But you
Now, when you were at the bar, when I first met you, you had gotten a phone call. And I forget, it was a scam phone call.
sure. Oh,
And you,
my funeral.
yeah, yep.
Remember my funeral?
Yep.
I got a phone call, and the guy said, we're here to make your funeral arrangements. And
Why
I
don't you sit in the bar with me and,
well,
and Wendy?
I'm at the bar. And I said, oh, thank you, but we have a problem. He said, what is the problem? I died 2 weeks ago, and I'm up in heaven, and the only reason I can talk to you now is my son put a phone in the casket. And now here comes God. He's angry at me. Look what you're doing to me. Now God knows I have a phone. He hung up.
did you two see this
Yes,
happen? Oh, I'm
absolutely.
Yes.
so mad that I
Oh
missed
my
this.
God. It was
I have a new business proposition of Miss Nancy's answering service
off
because
the top of her head.
Yeah.
Off the top of her
I do
head.
it all the time. I do
Well,
it all the
fanta-
time. My phone message used to say, good morning. This is Nancy. Unfortunately, I can't talk now. I'm having sex with 5 men. And then I would say, all right. So you figured it out. It's so 4. Okay. Then I would come back and say, okay, I can't take 4, but it's 3. But anyway, when I got down to the end of it, I would get home and there'd be over 200 phone calls because somebody would call somebody else and say,
hey, you have
you
to
gotta
listen to
call
this."
this number.
And hope that she doesn't answer. 'Cause
Yeah,
you
yeah.
wouldn't
Yeah,
hear.
it would be a
I'd be
great
at work.
disappointment.
I did that so much.
have
I mean, that's my favorite thing to do. I think I've done it to you. If I have to leave the bar and there's only him and maybe 2 other people there, and I have to run something. God, I keep doing that. And I have to run something back to the bar or into the back. I'll say to the host too, if anybody comes to the bar, tell them bartender's dead. And make sure that they don't sit down. I do that to you all the time. We're all like, you're in charge. If anybody asks,
I get the you're in charge part.
you're-
I don't think he told me.
You've never heard that one? I'll say
God.
I'll say to the host, especially if there's no one at the bar, I'll walk by.
That's a good one.
And say, like, if somebody tries to sit at the bar, tell them bartender died.
You're not getting served, bro.
Not getting anything. Bartender's dead.
See,
Bye.
and I would start asking questions. When did
Well,
it
you
happen?
would.
Yeah, I would.
Is she still back there?
Yeah.
Do I need to call
That's
somebody?
right.
I can leave him a fun
Is
message.
the body still warm?
There's the why who's
But you
asking?
know what the biggest problem is today? You have to know who to help. You have to figure out who to help. When girls come along with big long nails and eyelashes where Superman is going to take them up in the air, you have to know who to help today. Because listen, during COVID, I had a meeting with all of them. I had about 45 people there. I said, do me a favor. When you get that check, I want you to give 1/2 of it to your landlord. Let him know that you mean well.
Good faith,
okay?
yeah.
That's right, good faith. You know what they did? They bought, what are them name brand pocketbooks? I don't know, but you know, they had
that's
all
like
those
Sandy
or whatever.
everything.
Yes.
Whatever.
And then when it
Birkenstock,
ended,
whatever the fuck.
then
Yeah,
when they all
Birkenstock.
got evicted,
I don't know.
here they write to me,
I know
Miss
them all.
Nancy, you have to help me. I'm being evicted. And I would say, how much of your COVID money? Oh, I didn't give them anything.
Well,
Then you better go look
didn't-
for a new
You
apartment.
didn't do what I told you to do.
That's right. That's right.
You didn't do what I told
And
you.
they got mad at me, but I didn't care.
So this is another thing that mayors, bartenders, and my humble
That's
self
right.
as a lawyer experience. You build up all this this knowledge, right? And then people ask you for your opinion, and then they don't do it.
And then they don't do it.
And they didn't get mad at you? Oh, they get mad at me when I give them an opinion.
No,
No,
I
they're,
tell you.
they're
Miss
mad
Nancy,
at themselves.
I
but
don't care if they get mad.
I don't
No.
either. That's where I'm at now.
I don't care.
That's where I'm at.
No.
No, they clearly think. Well, this is a sideline, very brief. If I told you that on the one hand, I have met people that are legitimately smarter than me in jail. And the reason that they were in jail is because the first time they opened a book was when they got arrested, right? If they had spent half as much energy, trying to do something legitimate as they'd spent doing illegitimate things, I would have never met them. And they would have just gone through their whole life being smarter than me, and that would have been fine for everybody. But the ones that I enjoy are the ones who are not smarter than me, and they're going to tell me how to save their case
Yeah.
when I've been doing this for
For years.
25 consecutive years, just this part, just as a trial attorney. And the fun one, they've heard this, the one I always enjoy is, okay, you telling me you weren't there. But there's a picture that looks a lot
Not
like
different.
Yeah.
That's right.
well, that wasn't me. And I'm like, okay, I accept that. But when your mom came to my office and I showed her the picture, she burst into tears. So do you think that's because she mistook the picture for somebody who wasn't you? And you can't explain to a person, which brings me to another one of my sayings, all feelings are real. They're not all justified.
Right. Or in some cases matter.
They don't even, sometimes they don't even matter.
We all have feelings about things,
Exactly.
but you just do. There's also a common sense thing when it comes
Right.
to, say, your very specific example of
Right.
stimulus checks and rent and stuff.
Well, there
That's
is
common
not
sense.
a
We all
lot
got
of common
money.
sense going on in this world.
At any
But-
level,
well,
on
yes.
either side, up, down, white, black, male, female, nobody. So
But it's just that is like you can sit there whether it's smart or dumb or moral or amoral or immoral of like, well, you knew that your rent was due, you know you're out of a job, you know the government sent you this much money, or they're sending you this much money a month or a week. I'm imagining we all got some form of stimulus check during COVID, and if I hear somebody took what was it, $600 a week?
Yeah.
What were we getting? Yeah. Mary, like,
You know
what
where
are
that
we?
went? That went right into my savings account.
Exactly.
Because there's going to be a day.
Because there's going to be a day. But I think we might have done some Amazon hauls between myself and my boyfriend who are totally fine and pay our rent and we live in not in an overly
I
privileged
bought a
place.
pair of $700
was gonna
sneakers
say,
5 years ago, and they don't even look like they're 5 years
They don't.
old.
Those are them?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
My Burberry
Because-
sneakers.
Your
because-
sneakers look better than my car.
But I don't think it's an evil thing to be like, ooh, I just got free money and I've always wanted this thing and I'm stuck in my house and I can't do anything and there's nothing that brings me joy and I want to do this. Do that. But it's more I don't know. I don't think it's quite a stupid. I think it's just common sense.
You know what I would
And I
say
don't
to
think
all
it's-
of you? And I'm going to say it.
Say it.
I'll tell you this. Always plan for your future.
Correct.
Now, I'm going to say that. I'm going to say it because it's very, very important.
Yeah.
When you get to be 65 and older, plan for your future. And you know who taught me that? When I was the mayor, I wanted to move the black senior citizens to eat with the white senior citizens, okay? And I thought that would be nice. They could get to know one another. Well, the black senior citizens asked for a meeting with me. So I went to the meeting. And that day they told me that when they arrived in New Brunswick, the mayor was saying on the radio that niggers were coming into New Brunswick. They taught me about candy cane, or that cane they eat, sugar cane. They told me that, Miss Nancy, the reason we don't want to go over and eat with them is most of us worked for them doing days work. I don't even have nylons to put on in the winter. That's where they taught me about clothes. Okay, but they taught me that day. That day I went home and cried because to me, in our era, being with you guys is nothing. I'm glad to eat with you, okay? But I had to learn, and I didn't know all that. So I really cried my heart out. But I understood. But that year, I got coats, nylons. I did everything. I even went with the snowplow to go in and go grocery shopping for them. But they taught me a lot. And I just made the same mistake about 10 years ago. I took a nutritionist to the senior citizens building to tell them about nutrition. And they were mad at me because, and they were right. They told me that they've been cooking like this for 50 years. They know no other way. And they didn't want a nutritionist. And I was trying to tell them that the extra weight, their legs and everything, if you cut back on calories and do nutrition, you'll be able to walk without a wheelchair and a walker. But it's funny. They taught me again. They didn't want to hear that. Some people you cannot change. Some people are going to stay the way they are until they die.
People believe what they believe.
What they believe.
And the story that I always like to tell, and
We're almost there.
we might be getting down to the end of it. I'll just say this real quick. Every one of us sat down in these chairs because we had faith the chairs would hold us. And if the chair had broken, we'd lose faith in that chair, but we wouldn't give up faith in
other
chairs
chairs.
generally.
No,
Right.
that's right.
And so human beings are really slow to change once
right.
they believe
That's
something.
right.
I want to tell you, God bless you. Thank you for coming
thank
on
you
with
so
us.
much.
Oh, it was
We
such a
love you, Miss
pleasure.
Nancy.
I really enjoyed this. Thank you for having me.
I'm
Listen,
very glad because we
and
might have to have you back again.
I'll
if you
end
want.
it with
Point
this.
one, and we will never have a better. I'm sorry, guys. You can just suck hind tit.
But I will end it with this statement, and this is for everybody. Never, ever let anything control you. You control it.
That is
Mayor, I will
Very
take
well
that as
said.
a fairly stated proposition.
Now we
Nancy,
can
Miss
have a
Mayor.
glass of wine.
That's it, right? Drink
There
up.
you go.
Cheers, everyone.
It won't control us. It won't control us.
Thank you, Miss
That's
Nancy.
right.
Thank you, Miss Nancy.
You're welcome.
We need to cheers.
My glass is empty,
Here you go.
so I won't
Oh,
here.
cheers.
You
But
can, you can,
have
Yeah.
an empty glass again?
oh, wait.
No,
Wait.
There is one drop left in this bottle.
Here, just give me the whole bottle to
There
save
you
time.
go.
There we
There
go. Cheers.
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 Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank